Okay, I'm trying to get the bit of the jacket where I'm sewing the collar on now. And I just did a couple of stitches on the laptop because I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this. And I'm not even sure where I'm looking at the moment, because I'm seeing myself looking off to the side, but I'm looking straight ahead. So I'm going to try to put this centered in the camera shot where you can see it. Now I've attached the collar, which I began sewing. I showed you how I had begun stitching the collar pieces together. And I stitched more tightly along this outside edge because it's going to take the most pressure, but more loosely along the upper edge. I stitched some nice even stitching to keep the collar flat, because otherwise it just bubbles up and comes down like a tube and it just looks awful. So that's why that stitching is necessary to keep that done. Then I'm starting with the inside. You see there's this loose edge, and if we don't hem it, it will fray and look awful. So naturally, we hem it. So I folded it down flat, folded an edge into that, and then I'd already begun stitching in the laptop, and then I couldn't remember if that's where I'd started it. But what I do is now it's just a whip stitch. So I put the collar onto the part of the jacket where it goes, and then I'm just going to do, let me get this pin, I'm just going to do some little whip stitches to hold it on. It doesn't require tights. I mean, yeah, you do need to make it taut, but it doesn't require short stitches. It can go a little bit of length. So I'm just going to take a couple of threads of the fabric. It doesn't require much because all you're doing is holding it. So you can see I've got a very tiny bit of fabric. This actually looks bigger than it actually is. There, I think you can see now. It's just a tiny bit of fabric. Stitch that. And you can now see how long the stitches are. It goes a bit of a distance, and that's because this part won't show, so you can just do it just enough to hold the collar down. That's all you'll need to do, is just hold the collar down, and then I'll show you what it looks like when this side is finished. And then after this side is finished, I'll come and show you how I do this side, because this side is going to show. So it's going to be done a bit differently. So this won't take long to do at all. I'll finish this in a matter of an hour or so. And so I'll be able to show you this bit later. It all depends on when I get sunny days, because when the sun isn't coming through from the sea, this room is so dark, and if I try to light it, yeah, Chrissy, everything gets orange if I try to use lamps or whatever. So I'm even thinking of using my sad lamp for it. But anyway, for the moment, the sunshine seems to work. And I hope that when you see the finished product, I mean, it probably doesn't look altogether nice at the moment, but look, this is what the sleeves look like, you know, when I put it on. It's actually going to be quite a nice jacket. It's a nice color, it's a nice jacket, and I've got tops that go with it and everything. It's going to be fun to wear, and it's a vintage style. It's vintage from the 80s. I had a jacket and I bought the pattern so that I could continue to make it. And I'm going to show you how I preserve the pattern because the tissue paper is so old now and it's kind of torn in places from folding and unfolding. So what I've done is actually laid it out on grilled graph paper and cut pattern pieces that are sturdy that I can reuse so that I preserve the pattern, because that's one I'll never get again. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying the process. Okay, sewing the collar on. The first thing that I needed to show you was how the collar goes onto the jacket. Okay, so because my camera's not that wide and I need to show you, the jacket is, I got a notification, slide that out of the way. The jacket has a rather wide collar area. This is one of those 1980s jackets that had this big collar that goes all around. It's just this big, and the one that I used to have has shoulder pads in, had shoulder pads in, which I have some shoulder pads that I'm thinking about putting into this one. So I'll have that decision made before I finalize these videos. But I wanted to show you the length of how wide across it goes, because these are the side panels that I've stitched in. Did I show you that part? I can't remember. But it comes with, once you've put the two pieces together, then you have a side panel that you stitch in so that when you've put it on, this side bit will come across as part of the collar, and then the collar just drapes down along with it. So when it's finished, it will look quite nice. The collar has to be attached to the garment, the middle part of the garment, where you can see these two front pieces have stitched together. This is the front piece. That's the edge where that facing goes. And then this is the big back piece. So it's so dead easy to put together because there are literally just 4 pieces. You know, you've got the back. The sleeves are all together with it. The sleeves are not separate with this. It's one big piece. So you have to have wide fabric when you make this. Realize that you know how you got the fabric and it's a certain width. What you'll need to do is cut all of this one big piece sideways, because you're not cutting just a back and some front pieces and then some sleeves. It's all one piece. So you need to cut it differently. And I suppose when I'm cutting the pattern, I'll show you that because I've already cut it. So I'll have to show you that in another video, because this is a special kind of piece. Then when you get the side pieces, so you can see the back, let me see if I can, the back is all one big piece. It's all one big piece, sleeves attached. So then the front pieces are the same thing. You've got 2 front pieces that are all one length. Then you've got 2 facings and 2 collars. And that's it. So this is actually quite an easy pattern to put together. It's just not particularly easy to cut. So you then center the collar along the top so that you have the same length of fabric on either side so that it's centered. and it will be the same length on either side of the seams. There will be the same amount of collar, and then you stitch it on. So I've already done a little 6-minute video on how to start the stitching when I remembered that I hadn't shown you how to attach the collar. You just put the two pieces, you put the two sides of the collar piece onto the collar itself, and then you'll just sew it up that way. And where the two edges meet, you'll be tucking that bit into the collar as it goes along, and the finished jacket will be gorgeous when it's all done. I already explained all of the stitching along the edge in that exact place, because that is what holds this collar flat. So all of that is in the other video, and these will all get put together into one. But I'm going to do how the pattern looks and has to be cut separately. I've got some mock-up fabric for making these sorts of things, and I'll show you using mock-up fabric what I mean. That will have to be done on the table, and that will be a big event. It's probably going to have to be on my laptop, I'm thinking. We'll see. But it will have to be done in a very orchestrated way so that you can see what I'm talking about, because this is a highly unusual pattern these days. In the 80s, of course, their fabric was made quite wide. What we call wide fabric now isn't necessarily wide fabric. So it has to be done differently. And I'll show you all of that with this particular pattern, because I had wanted to show you how I made those paper patterns to preserve this old vintage pattern. I'll show you all of that. So I'll show you how I have to cut it at that same time. But now that's included, I'll go and finish the collar and then come back and I'll put all of this together. Okay, it's getting a little bit dark, so it's only 4 o'clock, but it tends to get dark early for some reason for me. I think, well, never mind, doesn't matter. I'm running out of sunlight, let's just say that. So I've got a few lamps on to try to boost the sunlight. I wanted to show you, this is now the front collar that I'm stitching down, and I wanted to show you how I'm making the little stitches really quickly, but I think I'm going to end up doing the final bit when I finally get this part finished tomorrow, if it's hopefully another sunny day. We've been having this year, and we need it, because the 3 years prior we were parched. We were on water rationing in spring. We were just dry. We didn't get rain, we didn't get snow. This year we're getting all 3 years into one, and so a lot of the country is flooded, but that's the case in America and other places as well. But we're getting one storm after the other coming from Ireland down. And so we're getting quite a bit of rain and dark days. Nobody's complaining. As I said, we need it. So that's great. And the temperatures are still mild-ish. So that's all right as well. But it just gets dark so early lately. So it is as it is. What I'm doing to keep the stitches very tiny so that they won't actually be visible, this being the front of the collar. I don't know if I can get you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going in under can see, I'm back behind. Let me get it done and then I'll show it you. Now, if you can see, I'm only got a small stitch and it's under the lip, it's behind. Then what I'm going to do is go, this isn't going to work because I'm taking it slowly. I go into the inner edge of that fabric and take just a small amount. Is that focusing? I can't tell. I take just a small amount, just a couple of threads from the inner edge of that fabric and pull it taut. And when you're done, where's that stitch? That stitch, as you can see, is holding the fabric, but it's almost invisible. You can see some of these back here because the dark is hitting them. But in normal lighting, you won't see that, really. And I thought, as I was stitching it, I thought, really, that's probably something that you would want to see, is how do I actually do that? So again, I go under the lip of the fabric there. Take just a few threads of that fabric into a stitch, then do it up. Get that under lip of fabric, get just a couple of stitches of that fabric, pull it taut, and see if you can see it up close. That's the thread. See if you can see it. Almost invisible stitch. So that's how I'm stitching the front, because it's different. You remember in the back I stitched it with long loose whip stitches just to hold it down. But this one wants a bit more. Plus this one needs a bit more of the close stitching, because obviously if it's the inside of the collar, well, you're going to be pulling down and everything. So it's going to have a bit more stress. So it's going to need that. So I thought I'd just add that video in there, and I don't know if I'm going to finish this one tonight. I might do some more in the morning, but we'll see how the light goes. Okay, I thought, as it's late, it's after 6, so it's dark now. I had thought that I would try just this last bit of the video, but do it with my sad lamp. I've got my lamp that I have to warm up my plants during the cold weather, and I thought that might give me a bit more light. It looks like it kind of washes out this side of my face. Chrissy, if you're watching, can you let me know what you think? If this lamp makes it all right at night, or should I just stick with the daytime? But I'm done with the collar. So the little stitches that I had shown, let me see if I can get some that are visible so you can see, because not all of them are. Okay, so these tiny little stitches, they don't look as visible in person as this, but you can see what I mean, that the inside of the jacket is well stitched for the collar. And now this finished jacket can get put on. And this is what it's meant to be, just a big loose jacket. It's very loose. It has a big, it's like it just curves. It's all one big piece, so everything is loose and comfortable, and if I want to, I can fit shoulder pads in. It has plenty of room. We used to use those thick ones, remember, in the 80s? And especially with Madonna, she started a lot of that as well, I think. But yeah, so now I have this colourful jacket to wear, sometimes with my top that's just like it, or with a coordinating colour of shirt. And that is the process that I went through. And I love how long the sleeves are. I think I cut the sleeves a little bit longer than the pattern, I think, because I like sleeves long. And I don't know if any of you ever watched Big Bang Theory, but Penny always used to wear her sleeves, jumpers or whatever. Her sleeves would always be quite long like that. And on Friends, Monica used to wear her sleeves like that as well. I love it. I always have. So when I saw them wearing it like that, I was like, yay, I'm not weird. Well, I am, but you know. Anyway, so that's the jacket done. And I'm already making another one. I don't know how many more I'll make because it is a specific cut of pattern. But I will be making a dress after that. So whenever it's a different garment, I'll show you how I make it. And yeah, this side looks dark almost. So yeah, Chrissy, you do camera lighting as well. So just let me know what you think. I think it makes my teeth look bizarre as well. I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd try it. So thanks. See you later. Okay, I put the light in a different place. It's in front of me instead of beside me. What I've got now is a shoulder pad on one side and no shoulder pad on the other. Now, the shoulder pad is not very thick at all, but it is thick enough to raise the collar up a bit. And so this side is down lower and this side is up a bit higher. And it does lay a bit differently with the shoulder pad in, but that seems to be the only difference really. It's not, I don't know, it doesn't seem thick enough. I couldn't find the really thick, commanding ones, you know, that went out straight like we used to wear. But I guess it does make a little difference, but I'm just not sure. Now this shoulder pad is detachable. It has a Velcro strip that comes with it, which I can stitch to the jacket and to the shoulder pad so that I can remove it for laundering, which is good because when I used to launder those jackets, then the shoulder pads were a nightmare because they would crumple up inside the fabric and I would have to try to get them straightened back out. So taking this off before I laundered the jacket would be good. But what I can't quite decide is if I like it better with the shoulder pad or without. So I thought I would just show you what it looks like and let you tell me what you think. Do you think it looks better lower, slouchier, or do you think it looks better up higher with the shoulder pad holding it up? So yeah, just let me know what you think and let me know about the lighting as well, because I think this looks better with it over across the room from me. I think that looks better than it did over on the side. But yeah, just let me know what you think and I'll see what I'll do, because it'll only take a minute to put them both in. They're so easy. So yeah, thanks.